Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back. George Morgan here at your service. It's PSGL, it's Wednesday night, it's Spain tonight as well. Lots on the table, lots of battling. The title contest is still alive and kicking. And Jack, it's only taken us 10 rounds. We're on the 11th. It's all to play for.
Boromant goes on the inside and takes the lead on the final lap of the race. Now it's side by side between Boromant and Warner, but Boromant's got the inside.
A guest star here in this phenomenal race. Cameron Dowd looking to take P2 in his very first PSGL F1 PC race. Incredible to say the least. You see that Putin to lead. 1.5 seconds. DRS is the name.
Takes the lead on the final lap of the race.
Good evening, everybody, and a very warm welcome to PSGL Season 36. We've come from a land down under to the land of the Ardennes Forest here tonight. It is Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium for the Belgian Grand Prix. I hope you enjoyed last week's race. We definitely did, and this is going to be jam-packed full of action today. My name is Jess Sport, and joining me once again, we've got Mr. James Head. James, how you doing?
I am doing very, very well, Jess. Excited for the racing here again in the Ardennes Forest, as you mentioned, the longest track on the F1 calendar. A bit of rain couldn't go amiss as well, potentially, like they're getting an F2. Very excited for this one.
Yes, I'm very excited for this too. We do have a few changes to the results. Last week, it was Yossi and Flopman that came out on top in Australia, but it didn't look like that way once we went to the stewards. So, James, you got the stewards report on you. Tell us a little bit more about what went down.
I do indeed, and yeah, Matteo did end up winning that race because 5-second penalties were picked up for both Yossi, who won the race, and the man who finished in second in F7R Flopman. And that is because, and I'll run through the Rennes Flopman incident first, 2 license points to Flopman and 5 seconds added to their final race time, and that was for causing a collision. Flopman carried excessive speed throughout turn 6 and hit Rennes, spinning them round, which is what we didn't catch on the stream. I thought he'd spun by himself. He did get that bit of contact from Flopman, 5-second penalty for Flopman, and Yossi's penalty was a result of causing a collision. He moved on the braking, albeit not to block M. Sapala, who was the driver alongside him. A collision resulted and Sapala was spun around, and again, that was at turn 11, so just coming in towards the Scari corner, that was where it happened. There was also another penalty picked up as well further down the field for Gustav. He ended up finishing down in 12th, which meant Nuth got a point in the end. Gustav's incident as well was for a 5-second penalty, causing a collision. Gustav braked too late at turn 3 and rear-ended FVR Storzo. And that, as a result, Jess, means Matteo, in his first race in PSF1, won in PSF1 and now leads the championship.
Yeah, he does lead the championship, and I have to say, Volakongen and Gil, they really capitalised on the penalties of Yossi and Flopman. Of course, Volakongen ended the season well last season, and he finished third in the standings last season as well. Gil, obviously, there for the whole season now, so that's really going to help him solidify his place a little bit as well. Yossi and Flopman, even though they lost their P1 and P2, it's still not lost for them. They still got some decent points and could be contenders for the race victory here tonight. Constructors' Championship looked exactly like this. McLaren are leading on 19 points, and then we got Alfa Romeo in second on 16, and we got Mercedes in third, Alpine in fourth, Williams in fifth, Ferrari in sixth, Red Bull 7th, Haas in 8th, AlphaTauri 9th, and Aston Martin are in 10th position here in the first round of the constructors' standings. It's unfortunate Aston Martin have got 0 points, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. We'll go through, obviously, what the lineup changes, because there's quite a few of them as well. So let us go to both of us in the camera as I go through it. So let's start with the reserves. Baraka replaces Tim in the Ferrari for tonight. Baki replaces Justin in the Aston Martin. And one of our favourite drivers is coming back. Or should I have said that? Maybe not. But he forgot to sign up at the end of last season for this season, but he's reserved for the rest of the season. It is, of course, the person who just missed out on the title last season, Cameron Dowd, who replaces Stefano in the Red Bull. And that is James's pick for the race victory. We'll go through some changes for the season in just a minute, but those are the 3 reserves racing tonight. And Cameron Dowd is your pick for the win.
He is my pick for the win, and I think he'll end up exactly doing what he did last season. When he joined midway through the season as a mid-season sign-up, he ended up, I think, coming top 3 in his first race and then picked up the race win the week after. So Cameron Dowd has definitely got good form around this track. He's won around here before in other leagues as well. So he's definitely got good form coming into tonight. And also, just to correct you, actually, Barak is replacing Urpek, I believe, in the McLaren. Or so I've been told. No, sorry, Baki is the one. I've put that down as the wrong note. Baki replaces Urpek in the McLaren. Justin gets replaced in the Aston Martin, and I'm just trying to see who.
No one. There's only 18 drivers.
Martin.
There's only 18 drivers,
Yeah.
so no one. And that is why we should double check our notes, James, before we go on there. But, well, it's absolutely fine. We got a few more changes to bear with you. Obviously, we just said Cameron Dowd joins as reserve. Markados has left PSF1 to get his venture on the PC side, guys. So best of luck to him. Replacing him is a very fast driver who was in the Aston Martin last season. Renz, who was very unlucky. Then we got Sipola, who is in the Alpine full-time, when Mario is now as reserve due to him having pretty much wheel problems, which is resorted him to not be full-time for the rest of the season. It's a bit of a shame for Marios for him not to do the entirety of the season, but he wants to get his wheel fixed and he doesn't want to cause any trouble. But good opportunities for Ren and Sipola, who were looking quite quick in one-lap pace and for the first half of the race too.
Yeah, Ren's is certainly one to watch out for. I know I had Tice Rook in my DMs last week saying there's one driver to watch out for on PlayStation, and that is Renz Thomason. And now he's got a full-time seat in Williams. Let's see what he can do, of course, replacing Markados, who was, of course, the last 3 seasons within the top 4 in the standings. So Markados definitely going to be had, I'm sure, in PC. Cameron Dowd, of course, joining the reserve tonight as well. First man out on track, I believe, is one of the Alpines, and I think it is, or one of the Williams, I should say, actually,
Ryan,
who was out there first, and that is NLR Ryan, as he is now coming in towards the bus stop chicane. A very tricky track, this, 7 kilometres in length, and we'll see what Ryan can do as he sets up now onto his lap in towards turn number 1. Do not be surprised, by the way, if you do see an illegal blocking penalty at the start of this session. It is beautiful blue skies. We come now down towards the source at turn number 1. On board with Ryan, looking very neat indeed. Now coming down this long, dragging run, pretty much where the GT3s actually start around here. Now in towards Rouge, and that's Radion actually at the top of the hill, coming through the left-hander turn number 3. Then through Kemmel Corner, as I give it its name, Kemmel Corner. Now down the Kemmel Straight, Dutch Corner on the left-hand side. We're trying to be supporting the NLR man here, down in towards Lake Holm, and a 30 flat even through the first sector. Quicker than what we normally see through the opening quarters of this lap, and this is looking good from Ryan as he now comes down in towards Bruxelles. Bruxelles, of course, given its name to the capital of Belgium, which of course is Brussels. And now comes through in towards Jackie X Corner, formerly known as No Name, pretty much now through half the lap, and looking very neat indeed, Ryan. Not opting to take the F1 Esports line, where drivers might tend to run on the grass through there. You can still do that on this game. However, now coming through Pouillon, Ryan still looking very good as he now comes in towards Lafania chicane, in towards the middle point of this lap and toward the end of this middle sector. Really getting the car hunkered down. This is exactly what you need. Very low downforce, low wings coming through this setup. And Ryan, 112.6, dead on where I expected him to be on his first runs. He now comes through the fastest part of the track, through Curve Paul Frere, now in towards Blanchimont, and this is the fastest part of the track, in excess of 200 miles an hour you can take in towards Blanchimont, and then in towards the the right-hander and the left-hander of the bus stop chicane, which has had various iterations, even had some hay bales once there back in the day. Oh, mistakes there coming through the right-hander turn 18, out of turn 19, on the run to the line. Ryan, 40.9, he could have found at least a 10th on that.
Yeah, I think he could have found at least a 10th on that too, James, as Girona's gone fastest with a 140.6. That's what the times we were expecting in F2, but it started off in a really moist conditions and then it got drier, so it was kind of like one-shot qualifying. So take the F2 quali times with a pinch of salt, as Reds goes fast with a 140.3. He's setting the benchmarker right now. We've got one of the Ferraris about to finish his run. That is Barak. Good to see him back as a reserve this season. It's the first time I'm commentating on him in a while. His lead lap's looking pretty good. Up to line he goes. P3, and I wasn't wrong when I was saying that. Blockman is the next driver to go out on the circuit. He's looking to redeem himself after his penalty last week. He's looking quick. Up to line he goes. He places Barak into P3. What about last week's race winner? He is invalidated, so he's not going to set a lap, but his teammate of Baki is going up towards the line now as he's trying to replicate that. What can he do? Not a good lap for him. He is slowest out of everybody so far. First built in around about 1921, this track. It used to be 14.9 kilometres, this circuit. Taking the forest and riding the hills at the beautiful Ardennes region. It was redeveloped back in 1979 to pretty much half the original length. It's 7.004 kilometres now. And Alberto Ascari, father actually won the first Belgian Grand Prix before it was the Formula 1 race back in 1925, believe it or not. We have got some interesting PSGL stats. The last time we were here, season 34, Mr. Van Bossel took victory from Bradley Holdham in second and Sammy Shemsey in third. All three of them, I believe, have gone to the PC side. Rowan won in season 32, Mirko Siriano won in season 31, and other winners include Ishmael Fassi, Jordan Poland, Wilson Hughes, Matthias Van Erven, the Pad Goat Louis Welsh, Sparks, Matthew Elder, and Louis as well. Sparks, I do believe it was Wilson Hughes that day, but there we go. Those were your winners, and qualifying is just done. And Rens Tomlinson is out on top. And he is my pick for the race victory today. So if he doesn't win, it's my fault.
And my pick's currently in third, so it's actually not looking too shabby from an analysis perspective, certainly in the commentary box with our poll predictions right now. First and third are our pair, and Yossi's splitting the pair actually, 140.4. As I've already mentioned there in the chat on YouTube, already quicker than the F2 pole time. It was a 140.5 flat, and that was set by Slash. And, of course, as you mentioned earlier on, it was a changeable qualifying session. We've got beautiful blue skies and sunshine starting off the session. So you would imagine, Ren's on a 40.3. I wouldn't be surprised if he can get that down to a 40.1, a 40 flat. Somewhere in around that region, if he is good enough and he can find the time. And also, just with the fact buffs amongst you there in the chat, did you know Jarno Opmeer didn't actually win a race around here? The PSGL GOAT in Jarno Opmeer actually got beat off Louis Welsh in season 25 around here. So that is definitely something worth of note. And especially so because we are going to get the second runs very soon indeed. Volokongan is going to be the first man out on track. And he again is another driver that is very consistent around this track. Currently in 8th, 40.7. Got a bit of time to make up on Jeroen and Gustav. But Volokongan, when he hooks up a lap together, he can be really, really strong. He's got a lot of time to find on Yossi, Cameron Dowd, and Flopman, who are 44.4s, 40.5s. If he can find 2 tenths per second, though, Jess, he could go beyond that and go 4th easily, still with about half the session still to play.
Yeah, he just missed out on the victory last week, but that's not going to stop him from getting victories this season as well. We have seen many PSGL F1 seasons where we had different race winners, which was very great to see. I remember last season, we've had a few different race winners in a row. I think it was Cameron Dowles that was the first repeat winner of the season last season. I think he won 2 in a row, I believe, which was really great to see from him. So maybe we could see Volokongan live up to his old self as well. A former PSGL, PSF2 champion. And there is quite a few former F2 champions who have gone on to great things. So I'm sure Volokongan will go on to great things very, very soon as well, as he's about to start off his lap as well. A few drivers will probably be disappointed after last week. Gustav, Ryder Down missing out on points. Stefano as well. Jeroen in 15th as well. Sibila, who got, I believe, fastest lap, but did not do enough to take the win that day. He had good pace in qualifying. And Baki as well. Those drivers, I think, are going to be very disappointed. And the last, Stefano Giannette, as well as Tim, but Tim's not here tonight. So those are the ones I've got to pretty much improve for this season. And we've got Wanda Williams trying to get a toe of Volokongan there, but luckily they're both on out laps anyways. We're about to get underway for their second laps. Get your prediction in the chat on who you think is going to get pole. I know it's going to be too early, but it's really tough to call at this stage. And it's such a long lap, they've got to get their laps going ASAP, James.
Yeah, they definitely have to. Matteo, they're down in 18th position. Ian Van Unen down in 15th. They are definitely 2 to watch out for. Both of them haven't set a lap time just yet. But somebody that is to watch on board with is NLR Ryan. He definitely wants to hog the limelight, I've got to say. Down in towards turn number 1 at La Source, and he's just starting up on his run. The Mercedes there, Volokongan, just starting up as well to come and cross the line down in towards the source at turn number 1 as well. But Ryan on the run down again in towards turns 2 and 3. Remember, it was a 30 flat in that first sector, a 112.6 in the middle sector, and in the end, it got him a 140.9 overall. So Ryan has got to find a little bit of time potentially on this lap. If he's around a 29.9 in this first sector, which is looking likely, 30 flats, he's 7,000 up, already looking good, but already I can see a mistake there. Coming through Lake Holm, definitely rolled the curb a little bit too aggressively compared to his previous lap, and that's going to lose him all the time now. Unless he makes it up through these two corners here, through Bruxelles and in toward Jackie X, I don't think Ryan is actually going to make up the time. Coming through here, he's definitely not making the time up now because he's nearly in the wall. Coming through the left-hander, Jackie X, then through the left-hander, now Puon. This is looking like a very scrappy lap from Ryan. I'd be very surprised if he's not up in, if he's down in this middle sector. He's looking like he is not filling this up with a lot of confidence through this middle sector. We'll see a middle sector split coming now. I think he's down in this middle sector.
Oh,
he's actually up in the middle sector. How?
So there was still time.
That's really scrappy.
There was still time to be found, James, I think. I think if he didn't have that scrap, he would have competed against the likes of Volakongan, Jeroen potentially as well. So I think he could still find the time in the final sector and could improve, but that probably gives Ryan a bit of confidence, not gonna lie. Ryan is going to be the first to cross the line, then it will be Volakongan. So let's see what Ryan could do first as he goes up to the line. 140.8, so he's found quite a bit of time in the final sector. Volakongan is up next. He was a few attempts up in the middle sector. What can he do? He goes fastest at 140.377. This is looking good for him. We've got, I believe, the Red Bull just about to cross the line. And that was also, he's just about to start his lap right now. We've got Jeroen. The only Aston Martin is going into the pit lane. I'm just trying to see where Renz is right now on track. He's invalidated. So let's go on board with Yossi, James.
Yossi coming up into the bus stop chicane. He's a 10.5 up, 12.2 in that middle sector. That's what my Uhu was for in the background as he now comes through the left-hander, through the final corner, on the run to the line. Should be pole. No, it's not. He lost the time by 1,000th of a second. 1,000th of a second behind Volakongan. You cannot get that close. Barak is invalid on a lap time. Ian Van Unen there going 5th. Gilles now going 5th there as well. Gustav's a 10th up. He's a 12.3 in the middle sector, so he's definitely finding time potentially to go ahead of Gilles and ahead of Cameron Dowd with this lap time. So Gustav is looking good here. The NLR man, NLR Nuth as well. He was looking good in his lap as Flopman now goes quickest with a 40.2. Brilliant that there from the F70 man. The Frenchman there out on top. He's only had to hop over the border to come here tonight, but Flopman out on top. Volakongan in second. Yossi there in third. Gustav now on the run to the line. He goes 5th and puts him right in the mix potentially for top 5 pole position, a top 5 start in qualifying even. But Flopman's the one out on top. Volakongan second. Yossi there in third. And still, Jess, no lap time on the board from last week's race winner, Matteo, down in 18th.
He just doesn't seem to get his lap together. He just doesn't seem that confident, which is not like him at the moment. So maybe he was just very happy with Australia. He might not put too much practice, or maybe he just doesn't like this track. There's a lot of drivers, including myself, that loves this track. But if you prefer track with high downforce, you're not going to get on well with this track. So you've got to put in the practice in to make sure you can cope with this track. Or maybe he just invalidated all the time. So we haven't seen Mateo's true pace. Or maybe he wants to sandbag right until the end and show us what he's made of for the end. Because no one will want to see his true pace until the end. But he's only got one shot to do his right. His teammate is only down in 15th as well for tonight. So the McLaren's not doing very well. It's just a sign of how they did at the start of last season. And it's the calm before the storm coming up. A lot of people are going to go into the pits now to change their tyres and get ready for their final few runs in qualifying. And it's not a situation in F2 when it was either chucking it down or they only got one shot. They only got one more chance to get it right. I've seen in Belgium before on this game, not many improve on their final runs. So Flopman is looking very, very tasty in P1 at the moment. He's got nothing to lose at this stage, but I think he's still going to go out again as a lot of drivers are going into the pits. Oh my God, he almost hit one of the McLarens. But it is go, go, go time for qualifying. I can't wait to see who's going to come out on top. It may not be Flopman, but it may be... I'm still going to go for Renz for pole. I think there's something we haven't seen yet from Renz. I think he's made quite a few mistakes on his first few runs, and I think he's got it.
Well, he hasn't set a second lap time in either, so he's only set one run, as opposed to everyone else ahead of him who's going for 2, maybe even 3 runs. Just comparing actually the middle sectors here. Flopman, 42.277 in that middle sector. He did a 42.437 on his previous lap, which was a 140.5. Volakongan, 42.467. That is where the time was made up, in that middle sector for Flopman, and that is why overall it's a 10th of a second. Volakongan is quicker in the middle sector by 700ths of a second in the final sector, even compared to Flopman. And in the first sector, 1,000th of a second separating Volakongan and Flopman through that first sector on both of their lap times. Really, really strong showing. Flopman there out on top, Volakongan in second, Yossi there in third. I hate to break news, but we haven't had an illegal blocking penalty yet. I hope to God we don't get one either. But I've had first, haven't I?
Shush. You probably said it now, and there's probably going to be one very soon. So yeah, anyway, on that bombshell, we've got everyone on their outlaps at the moment. We haven't had that much predictions yet for poll. We are live on YouTube and Twitch, so massive shout out to all you people on YouTube and on Twitch as well. We'll be streaming live on both platforms for the rest of the season, just like PCF2, E-Series and PCF1. Make sure you like us on all platforms, hit the subscribe button on YouTube, follow us on Twitch, and follow us on X and Instagram at PremierSimGL and TikTok as well. We are everywhere in terms of social, so make sure you go and check us out where you keep up to date on all PSGL news, including where PCF1 are going to be racing on Wednesday, which is going to be very, very exciting. Now, we are about to get underway for the final few runs of the session. Looks like we're A-OK right now, but I'm probably jinxed it myself, as Volakongan is about to start his run. He's going to set the early benchmark on his final few laps of this qualifying session as he heads towards La Source Corner right now. He's going to take a very nice run there as well, and middle set for him is where time is going to be gained or lost. Ren's out on the lap as well, so we'll compare Volakongan's to Ren's times to see if that makes a difference as he goes up the hill towards our Rouge, James.
He does go up the hill and towards the Rouge. I thought he was a bit wide, actually, coming out of La Source. M. Sapala, by the way, has binned it coming through Pouon, and that's because he came out the pit lane about 20 seconds too late. So M. Sapala not going to get a run on the board. Volakongan, though, fastest out of everyone in the first sector. Yossi gets the illegal blocking penalty. I did warn you at the start of the session that it was going to happen, and it has. Renz, by the way, through the first sector, is also up in the first sector. So Volakongan and Renz are both up on their lap times, and both are in very much comparison through the first sector. Volakongan now running down the hill in towards Pouon at the middle point of this lap. Renz is about 4 seconds behind him right now on track. Let's see how much time he can actually make up on this run as Volakongan now comes in towards the Fania chicane once again. Time is up and barely. Driver's getting a time on the board. There's going to be a lot of slipstreaming going on. Going down in towards La Source, but looks just 3 cars certainly going to be slipstreaming. McLaren, Haas and Mercedes being them, and Volakongan is up in that middle sector. Renz in the middle sector is a 10th and a half up, 112.1 in that middle sector. Renz is cooking up something different here. Volakongan coming through Blanchimon for the final time. Got to find the time from somewhere. He was quicker than Renz in that final sector, remember, on their previous runs. Volakongan now coming into the bus stop chicane has got to find time. There's a 28 flat in that final sector on the run to the line. He doesn't do enough. Renz is certainly doing enough, though. Coming through the final corner on the run to the line.
Wow.
Oh, and he absolutely gets it by a 10th of a second, and it's a 10th of a second between himself, Renz. Flopman, who's a 10th and a half down, he's invalid. Yossi is improving. His middle sector split is going to come up very soon indeed. Cameron Dowd is ahead on a run, and Yossi's even quicker. Yossi is a 12 flat in the middle sector. Huge lap incoming here by the Swiss man, who's going to be swirling that Swiss chocolate, that Lindt chocolate that is going to be coming his way, certainly, with this performance. Now coming through the left-hand of Blanchimon, in towards the bus stop chicane. Cameron Dowd's on the run to the line, not doing enough there. In sixth, but Yossi is surely going to get pulled with this lap time. Now coming through the final corner. Oh, makes a mistake, though. Yossi now on the run to the line. Does he get it? Yes, he does, but he just about nearly messed it up through the final corner. Gustav there is down in the lap time. He's invalid. So is GL. In Van Una now on the run to the line. The Dutchman, he goes 6th. Not a bad run there at all from him. GL is down. Nuth comes to the line. He goes 10th. Good qualifying session from him. Backy is down. That's the end of qualifying. Yossi out on top. Renz in second. Flopman there in third. Two of arguably, hopefully, the best drivers, the best young talent that we've got on console, Yossi and Renz, first and second. I am absolutely going to love what is going to happen in this race.
I'm excited to commentate on this, to be honest. Yossi is a qualifying specialist in PSF1, and we know it. He was like that last season as well. He was pretty much shocked me in terms of pace when we were doing the social races in Spain. It was like, we weren't expecting him to be up there because he was lower down in the tiers. He is evolving on the console, which is really great to see. So I can't wait to see his progression as we go through this season. So we got Yossi out there on top, Rend in second, Flopman in third. And we got Volakonga in fourth, Barak in fifth on his return to PSF1. Great to see. Ian on his PSGL PSF1 debut in sixth. Great lap from him. Gustav in seventh. Cameron Dow's in eighth. I think he want to improve on that one. GL in ninth. We've got Noof in 10th. We've got Matteo, Kazizel, Cipolla, Jeroen, Ryan, Baki, Zoro, and Keke, your top 18. But before we head to the main race action, we're going to have a quick word from our title sponsor, GTM Mega. Welcome back to PSGL PSF1, and as Jay was saying before, when we went on there, he was absolutely gutted that he didn't predict Yossi for pole position. It's not too late to change your predictions for the race, James, but what a stellar lap from Yossi there. He could have found a bit more time. He could have gone into the 140.0s, but he just made that mistake in the final corner, but it was still enough for pole anyway. He is someone to watch out for. So is Rend as well. So it'll be interesting to see what they can do as well. I was a bit shocked about Matteo, James. He's only down in the 11th or 12th spot. That's not what I was expecting from the race winner from last week. But he's had a lot of pressure on himself recently. Could he pretty much have a lot to gain from this race because he's starting lower down?
Oh, definitely. He's starting in 11th position. And not to be fair, not to be at all dishonest to Matteo, he didn't get the lap times in because he invalidated both of his runs, and that around this track does put you completely on the back foot, but both mentally and physically around this track. So Matteo only got one run in. He's behind Nuth, but he's ahead of Kazizel, and I think that's going to fill him up with a lot of confidence. Watch out for him down in 11th. Cameron Dowd's in 8th position as well, I think is the shock of the session. I mean, 1.5 hours ago, I don't think he even knew who was racing, to be honest. And then he just rocks up in the PSF1 chat and then joined. And now he's in as reserve, of course, for the second time in PSF1. He was, of course, reserve before becoming full-time last season as well. He's there down in 8th position. I think the shock for me in qualifying was Barak. Barak there in 5th. I didn't expect him to be up there. I know he's been quite good around this track on previous game iterations. But him in 5th, out-qualifying Ian Van Unen, just behind Volakongan by what, 0.02 of a second? Very strong qualifying there from the Spanish.
To be honest, I wasn't shocked about Barak's performance in terms of the qualifying session, not gonna lie. I think he was up there with a lot of the good guys as well. Maybe he could be in a good position to get the toe in towards our rouge as well, as he can get past as well. The best position that I think around this circuit to be starting from are the front few rows. Maybe pole may not necessarily be a good thing, so it's going to be up to Yossi to really try and defend the position from the likes of Rend, from the likes of Flopman, from the likes of GLG, loads of other people that have had so many good qualifyings. We all know that in Belgium it has a tendency to rain, as what is just said in our little aborted start. It looked like it was dry, so I don't think it's going to rain, but you never know with Belgium. Every time I commentate on a race, it tends to rain at some point. We've seen it in PSF2 in the start of the race, I believe, but we're going to have completely blue skies. It's going to be great so far. I'll be interested to hear your opinions in the chat on whether you think it's going to rain towards the end of the race, but I don't think we're going to get that. But luckily we have all 18 drivers in the lobby, so Ryan's going to set up the grid, and hopefully we should get underway soon.
Well, judging by the chat, actually, about the weather in Discord, Nuth has said, last cloud was rain, so it should be fire, with a fire emoji, albeit. But Nuth there saying it was due to rain at the end of the race, and Matteo as well saying It was going to rain because the icon on top said it, but it is ultimately Ryan's call. And I know we've had a situation like that, I think last season even.
Yeah, we
in
did.
PSF1, where it was going to be wet on the final icon. Normally when it's that, it normally means either the rain is not going to fall or it's going to fall on the final 2 or 3 laps of the race. That's what that basically means. So Ryan has got to try and do a very thin thread almost in terms of the racing. He's got to choose whether or not for it to be dry, whether or not the final couple of laps would be wet. If he sets the final icon, because I think you only get 3 icons, if I'm not mistaken, in the
That's
menu.
correct.
And on that final icon, it would bring out the rain in the final third of the race, so the final 6, 7 laps, say. And you don't want a situation like that because you're going to get drivers complaining and saying, oh, well, it was only meant to rain the last 2 or 3 laps on the race, and now you've absolutely ruined it because it's going to be the final 6, 7 laps. It's the real limitation, I think, we've got in terms of the weather system. I know there's a lot of rumours going on about F124, and I definitely think that the weather system, certainly in terms of how many icons that the lobby hosts get, I think that's an improvement that is definitely needed for F124.
Yes, and you've probably seen the teasers as well on X about F124 teasing. We don't know the dates at all, so we can't really say, to be honest. So someone will ask, well, what are the dates? We don't even know what the dates are, so don't ask us as well. And we got Jav in the chat saying, I don't know how Jess keeps that plant so alive, never looks dead. It's not a real plant. It's a virtual background. My room is in such a mess, believe it or not. That's why I've got a virtual background on. That's why the plant is never dead, because I have a virtual background. There we go. You probably know this, Jab, but for those of you that don't know, there you go. Years is hoping for a Keke masterclass later on as well. Tip saying best comms duo. Thank you very much. Genio is hoping for 4 wets. Well, I don't think we're going to get 4 wets if what we see in the Discord was anything to go by, but that was interesting to hear what's going on in the chat. And Jav's just said James needs a plant.
A plant? It's going to be very hard to get a plant in this mess that I've got behind me, Jav.
Yeah, exactly. And just in good time, we're about to get started for the race. So final plug for our sponsor before we get going. GT Omega. We're sitting in these really comfy chairs. 5% off all GT Omega products by using the code PSGL at checkout. Link is in the description, or you can use the exclamation mark GT Omega in the YouTube chat. I don't think there's a command on the Twitch for that, unfortunately, as well. And we're also partnered by Sim Racing Centre. So whether you need like a mega setup, expert engineering, or even coaching or strategy advice, you can get some from the amazing team that they have there. And you can even book a session and get direct advice from 2-time esports champion Brendan Lee. You can have a look at SRC using the link in the description. Use PSGL and you get 10% off your purchase. You can even get Bob for 10% off if you want to. And if you don't know what Bob is, it's a nice teddy bear that I still need to get from their merch site. So there we go. That is our 2 sponsors. Thank you very much. We couldn't have done it without them, of course, but we are about to get underway. Has your predictions changed, James, between qualifying and the race, or are you going to stick with your guns and say Cameron Dowles for the win?
Cameron Dowles from 8th position is going to be very, very difficult, I'll be honest. Normally good. If there's a bit of carnage on the first lap of the race, it could open up the field potentially to the likes of Ian Van Unen starting further down the field. But I'm gonna go with Yossi. I think he might do it from P1. I know he's been strong around this track in the past in PSF1 and indeed in PSF6, which is actually won in Belgium. So if he can utilise that form from there, I think he's got a very, very good chance out on track. Avatar mentioned in the chat, actually on YouTube, I will bet on Volakongan. There's Yossi, Flopman, etc. for favourites for this race. I like a challenge sometimes. We do in the commentary box. We love a challenge. Every single week we love a challenge. And confirming about the weather, by the way, I asked Ryan what the weather was set to. Sunny and cloud, and overcast. So we are not getting any rain in this race.
No. I wanted rain to spice things up a bit, but I guess it's kind of like an even playing field. There are people that won't complain too much. So in a way, it's much better for the drivers. And we get to see some more action as well, which is very good as well. Jenny in the chat saying he wants to see an underdog win. I think that's what we all want to see down the line as well. Every time I either commentate or race and see someone that I don't expect to see win, it's always a nice feeling. Everyone comes in the chat very, very happy for them as well. It's really, really great to see. But it's too early on in the season to think about that. But you never know. We've seen underdogs win in PSGL before and good surprises. Remember Jensen winning in China a couple of seasons ago as well with his bold strategy. Marlon getting on the podium in Singapore one season. So it could happen, an underdog winning or getting a podium, could they, James?
Yeah, Volakongan and Hungary come into my mind as well, where he went on a set of inters, I think, a set of hards even, I think, 30-odd laps. Got to the end of the race and won. Jensen, I think, was third that day as well. Fantastic racing out on track. We are going to get going very soon indeed, by the way. Drivers have been told already up on 32, so we should be getting the red lights going out very soon indeed.
Yeah, so right now they've been told to ready up, so hopefully we will get the 5 red lights very, very soon as well. Jab saying Kako to P20 to P20. Don't be too mean, Jab. I mean...
Terrible.
Yeah, absolutely terrible. I'm seeing on the pit garages, you probably can't see it at the moment, medium tyres for the Red Bull drivers, but that's it. I don't see any more tyres. It's hard to tell, unfortunately, with the pit garages. You know what? Let me get the footage for you now so you can absolutely see it right now. And just in time, the 5 red lights are about to come on. It's like PSGL could read my mind. 5 red lights are on here for round number 2 of PSGL PSF1. It's a go. And Yossi gets a fantastic start, but Ren's going to try and get the switch back into turn number 1 of La Source. He's got a bit squirmy with the likes of Flopman and Barak. Barak is up into 3rd already. Fuller Conga's dropped down to 5th. We've got the Aston Martin of Jeroen struggling up there to gain place. We've got the Red Bull of Cameron Dowes fighting with, I think, Ian in the background for 7th spot. But here's where we're going to see people get the toe. Flopman's got the advantage on Ren's, it looks like. We could see free ride around here. Ren's going to dive it up the right-hand side in towards Lecom then. Is he going to go for the lead? Yes, he is. Ren's takes the lead of the Belgian Grand Prix. Yellow flag. And it is Volakongan who's had an issue. So Volakongan must have had damage somewhere from somewhere. And yeah, that's a bit of a shame. Ian and Gustav had good starts. Ian already is up to 5th.
Yeah, left side end plate damage for Volakongan. I'm not sure who it was. He certainly dropped down through the field. He was 5th coming up through Rouge and Radion, then dropped all the way down. So I wonder if he's had an incident going down in toward Lake Holm potentially. But Ren's leading the way. Yossi 2nd, Flopman there in 3rd. Flopman was into the back of Volakongan, by the way, in towards turn number 1. He unsettled the car. That's why Volakongan lost the position further down the field, and now he's down in 18th, obviously. Mateo, by the way, 9th position. Good start for him. He's on that set of medium compounder tyres. All 3 compounder tyres actually in use. Mateo being on the only one on that set of mediums. 7 drivers on the set of softs. Renz, Yossi, Flopman, Barak, and Ian Van Oon in the top 5, along with Jeroen and Volakongan, who will end up coming in the pit lane for that damage. And then everyone else that I haven't mentioned is on a set of hard compounder tyres. Here comes Eleanor Nuth on the back of F7R Jeroen in toward the bus stop chicane. Is the Hassman going to look to the inside line? Not quite, but Mateo in front does look to the outside line. Now coming through the bus stop. Oh, nearly chops off there. The right side end plate of that Alfa Romeo. Gilles not going to be happy with that one. There goes Flopman potentially to the inside line, and Yossi as well. Not going to get that one done. Renz leads, Yossi in 2nd, Flopman there in 3rd. Flopman, I think, unlike most of his races, I think he's just got to bide his time right now. 80% of ERS at use. I think he's just got to bide his time and wait.
Yeah, if I was him, I would wait as well. So he's just going to be very, very patient to make sure he can do everything he can to potentially win this race, potentially. So Yossi may try and go for it now or wait for the next lap. We've got Van Uven trying to go side by side as well. He's fasted sector 1 and he wants to show everybody that he has a place in PSF1 and he stays in full position right now. I did see, I think, one of the McLarens getting a bit squirmy on X in the background. That might be Mateo on those mediums. I'm liking the variance of strategies here today as well, which strongly suggests that they want to get rid of the softs as quickly as they possibly can so they can go on to pretty much one of the best race tyres around this track, which is pretty much the hards or the mediums. The softs ideally is not ideal, but for some people they just want to get rid of the softs as quickly as they can and want to be very fast in the race, which is understandable. They are going to be saving a bit of their battery for some people just to save their tyre of because they do burn quite a bit of tyres around it. Lap 6 or lap 7 is what we predicted the softs will last to, and that will allow drivers to pit early in the race, and it wears about 6% per lap as well, so that could be interesting as Flopman and Yossi hang a little bit with battle as well as they go side by side into the bus stop chicane. A bit squirmy again from Flopman. That's allowing Renz to pull back a little bit even more as they're towards the final corner. Barak can take advantage of this, but here comes Flopman side by side with Yossi in towards the source. He goes down the left-hand side in towards turn number 1. He's getting the switchback. DRS is enabled. This is great stuff from Flopman. He's up to P2. He's going to get the DRS, I think, off of Renz as they head towards Radion and into the Camel Straight. So here he comes. And Yozi's looking good as well. This could be a free-wide situation. Renz has got to be very, very careful here to try and defend. And Yozi's going to try and get involved as well. Flopman could take the lead here, but Yozi's not going to give up without a fight. Flopman takes the lead from both Yossi and Renz. Renz, who was leading, is now down to third.
Ian Van Unen with the switchback as well, running down in towards Brussels. Surely got the move done. Oh, he has. He's just sold Renz for an absolute chicken there. He's through and he's into third. Barak there and Gustav are side by side as well. Gustav nearly getting forced off track. He's now down into fifth. Gustav trying to fight on that set of hard compound tyres, trying to get that move done and trying to get ahead of Matteo, who's right there or thereabouts in terms of this battle as well. Flopman leading the way. I will just question Flopman with that move. It looked to me as if he was just desyncing slightly. It's all very minimal on my screen, certainly. But it looked like he was just lagging, almost as if he's got like red bar connection, essentially, compared to Yossi and Ian Van Unen. Just caught that coming down towards turn number one. But Flopman now in the lead of the race. He can hopefully think that his connection's a bit stronger now that he's leading and he's not really around other cars. But that's just a little bit of a concern for me if he's going to be in this race. Yossi there in second, Ian Van Unen there in third, Renz in fourth, Barak there in fifth. Looking further down the field, I think everyone is just very capable of running on within a DRS train right now. Matteo again, very close to the back of Gustav. That car definitely hooked up for a right setup, definitely. The McLaren there on the back of Gustav, running down in towards turn number one. ET8 against NLR, this will be between them both. Down in towards turn one, Matteo not getting the job done. Gilles having a nice race there, down in 10th position as well. Nuth there down in 11th. Gilles, of course, qualified, I think, further up the field. And looking at position gains, actually, 6 positions gained for your own, 4 for Matteo, 1 for Gustav, and now potentially 1 for Yossi, because he's going to try and get this race lead back on Flopman. Running down in towards Lecom. The Swissman, though, in a straight line, not capable of going for the move just yet. I think he's just going to sit and wait, which is exactly what you should be doing around this track at this point on this circuit. Flopman leads, Yossi second, Ian Van Unen there in third.
You don't want to be pushing too much this early on, because that is when the ones on the hard are going to really start to take advantage a few laps earlier than you would expect as well. So it's probably best to save battery when you're in a DRS train as well. Flopman is going to be in a bit of a disadvantage coming up as well. But with everyone in a DRS train apart from Volakongen, well, no one is going to gain an advantage. It's just going to be pretty much taking one person to make a mistake, and then all hell is going to break loose around this circuit. And I won't be surprised if one driver potentially comes into the pits now for the the hard tyres to pretty much go nice and early.
Ooh.
Your own. As Matteo going for the move on Gustav on an unconventional corner through Paul Frere. But I think Gustav's going to get a good run maybe towards Ronchemont potentially. Cameron Dowd as well, fighting as well in the same piece of tarmac on your own. And looks like he's going to make this move stick as well, side by side into the bus stop. Oh, look at this.
Oh
my God. That was almost a car park pile up, but luckily it wasn't. It could have been worse, but I think I don't think he was meant to do that. I think he realised what he'd done and backed out of it very quickly, Jeroen.
And now Cameron Dowds is going to send one to the inside line as well. If you can do one, I'll do one better. And he's actually got the job done. Has Cameron Dowds. I think Jeroen is definitely struggling on that compound tyre. He's on a set of softs. He's, I think, ran very aggressively off. Gustav, by the way, made a mistake as well with Matteo getting that move done. He made that mistake coming through curve Paul Frere. Here comes Yossi for the race lead, though, on the back of Flopman, running down the straight. Easy as you like for the Swiss man. And it could be easy as you like as well for Renz on the back of Ian Van Unen. 3rd and 4th position. You're on there on the back of Cameron Dowds, not getting the job done either further down the field. Everyone in the big old DRS train, apart from Volakongen, you've got to feel sorry for. After that right side end plate damage that he picked up on lap 1, he's down in 18th position. He's all the way down the field. He ideally needs a safety car to come out, I think, around about now, for him to get back into contention. Yossi, though, leading the way. Flopman in second, Ian Van Unen there in third. And now we're back to the same old of running a big old DRS train. Matteo, I've got to say, is looking very quick compared to the guys in front. Matteo is definitely the one to watch out for. Now, in terms of strategy, I think I said this earlier on in my notes. Medium compound tyres wear off at around about a 5% average rate compared to a set of softs on a 6% average rate. That percentage is definitely going to be in Matteo's favour. Those softs are probably going to be about 6, 7, 8%, somewhere in that, more worn than the mediums behind a Matteo. And Matteo there in 6th position, he can just sit there. He can just wait, but he doesn't want to get too too under pressure from Gustav and Cameron Dowd in behind, because if you invite Cameron Dowd and Gustav into the mix, definitely Matteo's going to be one to watch out for.
They're definitely trying to get the edge on Matteo there on the last corner, don't they? It looks like all of them want to be the last of the late breakers. It looks like Cameron Dowd is going to try and challenge for this one as well. Into that source, down the inside he goes as well. And that was a beautiful move, as Jane was saying, through there. So he's up into 7th spot. He's going to chase down Matteo now for 6th place. Of course, they're all going to get the DRS. We'll see if Flopman can challenge Yossi on the run to the Camel Straight into Lake Com now. He's gained some beautiful run here, so I guess he's using a bit of his ERS. It's impossible to tell, but Yossi is closing the door. Unlike tracks like Austria Guitar, DRS is not that powerful around here compared to those tracks. So potentially you just got to play the long game, knowing that you could potentially get them soon as well. They could play some risk towards the end of the race, but you never know with this track so far. If you're liking the action, don't forget, make sure you leave us a like. As Cameron Dowd, I think, for some reason his pace has come alive. It took a while for him to get his tyres up to temperature. I think it's taken a while for everyone's hards who's on the hards to get their tyres up to temperature. So this is going to be the start of their races for people on these hards right now, because they can start fighting the ones on the mediums and the softs, in particular the ones on the softs. If I was Matteo, I would get a move on, because the cut-off point is around about now.
Yeah, he's got 57% of ERS actually looking through the field. Barak ahead of him has got 71. So even if Matteo wanted to go for the move, he's not going to have any ERS, as Gilles is on the back of your own, looking to the outside line of Blanchimon. Surely not from the Alpha, from the Sauber even, around the outside, now on the inside line. Your is certainly going to back out of that one. I wouldn't be surprised if he's in the pit lane. Gilles is through and he's into 9th and has just sold your there, I think. A new set of soft compound tyres, which could be coming his way in the pit lane a little bit later on. But Yossi there leading the way. Flopman in 2nd. Ian Van Noonen there in 3rd. Beautiful move there by Gilles. The old guard, as I called him in Monza last season. He's into 9th in the Sauber. Gustav there in 8th. And Cameron Dowd there in 7th. Matteo, though, on the back of Barak. Even though he is looking on the back of Barak, is he going to find this move to be done? He's not using up any battery down the straight. And in fact, I don't think anyone is using battery down the straight, apart from Flopman to the inside line, in towards turn number 5 at Lecom. And that is job done for Flopman. He retakes the race lead. And that was actually done without any battery usage at all, Jess.
Which shows that he has the confidence, doesn't he? So I wonder if he's throwing lower wings than Yossi, or maybe Yossi was just maybe not too confident as well. Maybe he just didn't fight for it, really, because there was a few times where he pretty much, Yossi was fighting for it and closing the door on Flopman. So maybe Flopman was prepared to take a few more risks, which strongly suggests for Flopman he's going to pit soon, because he's going to try and increase the gap. He's already trying to increase the gap right now. That strongly suggests that we could see our first pitters very, very soon. Jeroen, the only one of the soft runners, struggling a little bit. Everyone else on the soft doing a really incredible job around here to get those tyres into a great operating window, and still managing so well, despite the tyres being around 6-7 laps old as well. Through Blanchimon as well. It's a very last left-hand bend. Even though the drivers could take it flat out, the margin for error is very small. And if especially on those soft tyres, which are around 6-7 laps old, any small more margin, then you're going to probably end up in the wall, Blanchimon. No, Flopman stays out. So does Yossi. Ian stays out as well. So our notes are completely wrong in terms of predictions of where we think the drivers are going to pit in. So they're going to stretch these softs for good knows how long as Cameron Dowd side by side towards their source. And Matteo gets a lovely switchback going up the hill. Is he going to keep it like that? Surely they're not going to stay side by side in towards El Rouge, will they? I think they're going to try. Matteo gets the job done, but Cameron Dowd's going to get a lovely run in towards the Camel Straight. He's going to probably use a bit of his battery. We'll keep an eye on the Red Bull driver. Yossi gets past Flopman into the race lead once again. They are switching positions like no tomorrow, using to DRS each other. But Matteo, that was absolutely perfectly executed from the McLaren. His tyres are absolutely perfect right now. Matteo's got to get a move on though. He's got some soft tyre runners to get past.
Yeah, it was a drag race all the way down. I'm sorry if you can hear me, by the way, in the background. I've just accidentally unmuted my Twitch stream. Cameron Dowd's on the back of Matteo. They had a drag race down the straight in towards Rouge and Radion. And Cameron Dowd almost looked like he got it, but I think he wanted to back that out. And because he backed out, he couldn't go side by side coming through Rouge and Radion, and then he didn't have the speed to come back at Matteo ahead of him. So Matteo there staying in sixth, but it's now at this point in the race, Jess, where Cameron Dowd's tyres is probably better off than what Matteo's is. So I think Cameron has got to be on the front foot here. He's got to try and look for the move on the back of Matteo. 0.3 of a second. I think they'll just sit within DRS range for now. But if Cameron Dowd has got to look in potentially, it's going to be a down into the down in towards that part of the track in the middle sector. But now he is under pressure from Gustav coming in toward the bus stop chicane. Is Gustav going to look for the move? No, he just backed off. Is anybody in the top 5 into the pit lane? No, as Rens Thomason goes for a little bit of a bump there on the back of Ian Van Unen. Maybe just a little bit of bump to say, come on, get a move on. Flopman's now losing time. You've got to get on this because we're going to be in trouble if Yossi pulls away by a second.
Yes, they've got to work together at this point. They can't afford to squabble like this. So Renz, he's not where he wants to be right now. He was fighting with the likes of Yossi and Flopman for the race lead earlier on in this race, so he's got to get past. And Gil as well, going side by side with Gustav. He's going to challenge for top 8 in this race as well, and he's got the job done on Gustav very nicely before the braking zone, so good job on him. No change for the lead between Yossi and Flopman, but Ian could sense a potential opportunity if any of the top 2 make a mistake. Yossi and Flopman got into the walls in the stewards last week. They don't want to do exactly the same as they did last week. They got to keep it clean throughout the rest of this lap. Soft to medium is probably the way to go now. So we're going to keep an eye on Matteo's pace, see how long he can last for those medium tyres. He's going to, I think, have to last around about half of this race or more in order to get the softs into an operating window. So I'm excited to see how, because the strategies that are being played out here is completely different to what we put in the notes, which makes it very unpredictable. And with PSGL, I like the unpredictableness because I'm used to people starting on the same tyre.
Oh, definitely so. Definitely so. Nuth as well on the back of your own, looking for the move done. The German on the back of the Dutchman, looking to try and get the job done. Nuth apparently was saying, leading the DRS train around here on social media, on X it was, he wasn't happy with that, put it that way. At least he's not leading the DRS train. At least he's in one. He's there down in 12th on the back of your own. Your own, I would be very surprised if he doesn't come in the pit lane. This lap around, there's 3 wide into the bus stop chicane. There goes Matteo around the outside of Barak. Barak is into the pit lane as a result. And there goes GL to the inside of Cameron Dowd. And now these two, Young Pretender, there's a Red Bull and Strife in the background. And Zolto, I think, round in the background, if I'm not mistaken. He's got the car back going again. He was Strife coming through, I think, the right-hander there at the bus stop chicane. GL remains in behind Cameron Dowd. The Young Pretender against the Old Guard in 4th and 5th position. And it could still be the case because Matteo there in 3rd has now got no DRS or ERS to the back of Flopman and Yossi. Flopman now going for the race lead on Yossi. This now going into the hundreds, quite literally, in terms of this speed in this race. It's just picked up all of a sudden. Cameron Dowd in 3rd, Matteo there in 4th. Crucially though, Jess, everyone into the pit lane on a set of medium compound of tyres. Softs to mediums, clearly the strategy that I want to go on. 12 laps on a set of mediums. I would normally say, if it was on the last game, I'd normally say they could be in trouble at the end. But they're not. They can definitely get those to the end, as now Renz has got the move done on Ian Van Unen, and that is for potentially the net lead of the race.
Yes, undercuts on this game is so powerful. So Renz has got to push like his life depends on it right now. It could mean something to 2 or 3 seconds per lap. And I can speak from experience on being a part of a DRS train. If you're not in a DRS train and you have no DRS at all, that is where you're going to lose so much time. And with the likes of Flopman and Yossi, they can gain so much time with them slipstreaming each other. It will be awesome. I think that's what happened to me when I was doing practice for Austria the other day. I gained so much time on my rivals just because I was just having DRS of the car in front. And so you won't get a 3-second time penalty due to multiple warnings. So that's our first time penalty of the day. Flopman and Yossi got to think about going into the pit soon because they're going to lose so much time to the undercut. Flopman does though, so does Yossi. They're all in, which promotes Cameron Dowd to the lead on the track. But that's all the soft runners in now. So we'll keep an eye on the likes of Renz, who's going to be leading this train of the cars who have just pitted. So let's watch Renz as he heads past the bus stop chicane in towards the final corner. As we have a few people just going out of the pits now. It's going to be very, very tight between Flopman and Yossi as Renz heading towards turn number 1. Flopman just exiting the pit lane. and Renz has definitely got him. And so as Barak as well. Barak undercutted perfectly, so is Ian as well. So just staying out a lap later has not helped them at all, but fresher tyres could help them at the end. It is hard to overtake in some places, so they got to think strategically here. Ian, though, gets past Renz and up to the race lead. Well, net race lead. Brilliant job from him.
Brilliant job for him, but there is one man that I'm going to really focus my attention on now. That's the man in front right now. Matteo, on that set of medium compounder tyres, I can only think he's going one strategy. As is the rest.
Softs.
They're going to go on a set of softs and behind, and yet Matteo, I think, will go on a set of softs. There is no other strategy. If he wanted to go on a set of hards, he would have been in by now, and he would have went for the undercut and then would have tried and save up the battery and try and string everyone out. But he's not doing that. He's just wanting to sit in front and basically get everyone under pressure and behind by just leading from the front. And Matteo there, on a set of soft compounder tyre, we saw the first stint, how they went through the tyres. If you're like your own, though, and the tyres go off 6 or 7 laps into your stint, Matteo's going to be in trouble. I think he needs to come in next lap around rather than this lap, because I think this lap would still be a little bit too early. We'll see what Matteo can do. He's going to go on still along with the guys in a set of hards, but do not be surprised, as I've literally just said that, Gustav and Keki are into the pit lane, so they split the strategy. They want to go for the undercut. This is going to be hards to softs. Is this a strategy that is going to pay off, though? This is going to be interesting.
Mediums.
Actually, Keki's going on a set of mediums. Yeah, Gustav as well. Looking at his stint, is he going on a set of mediums as well?
Yes.
He is. So they're going set of mediums. Interesting.
They're playing it
I
safe.
thought they could have made the softs.
They're playing it safe. They think that the softs can't last until the end of the race, but you never know. GeForce is going to get past Matteo into the race lead, but look at Cameron Dowles, how he dives past Matteo there as well. So Matteo was not expecting Cameron Dowles to be in the picture, so you can definitely see on Matteo, his tyres are probably giving up the ghost a lot quicker than we thought. So maybe he's going to think of a different strategy, maybe compromise at this stage and hope the undercut is potentially going to work. I wonder if any of the hard runners who are still left in this race is going to think about going on to the mediums or going on to the softs and just be like a few times quicker. You never know. Again, the openness of strategy, the flexibility of strategies is very, very interesting. Believe it or not, Volokongan's still in this train, but he's still yet to make, I think he's not going to get those hard tyres to the end, so he's still going to make one more pit stop. So again, safety cars, I think that's the only way that he's going to salvage anything in this race. But you never know, anything can now happen in PSGL, PSF1, as I think we are approaching the halfway stage. Yes, we are approaching the halfway stage, so Grab Your Popcorn is going to get even crazy. I don't know who's going to win this race. I'm still going to bet my money on Renz, because if I change my prediction now, I'm going to cry. As Gil and Cameron Dowles comes in, because it all comes in. Sipler comes in. Matteo, interestingly, stays out. I thought Matteo was going to come in now with the rest of the hard runners staying out. But it's completely opposite, James. The ones who I thought were staying out are going in. The ones who I thought are going in are staying out.
And they're going to set of medium compounder tyres as well. Unless they've been told something different, and unless I'm completely, because I did these notes, by the way, in terms of the strategies, unless I'm completely and utterly mad, I thought Matteo would have came in there for a set of soft compounder tyres, as of the rest. Here comes Ian Van Unen, though, on the back of Renz Thomason. Net race to the lead. In fact, it could be the race lead very soon indeed. And Ian Van Unen through, and he's into third. Flopman coming from a mile back on the back of Renz as well. There's Yossi and Barak going side by side. Yossi, I think, getting that job done through, and he's into 7th position. Now behind, Barak there down in 7th, Yossi there in 6th. Also battles going on. GL, the old guard, against NLR Ryan to the inside line in towards Lecon. Beautiful stuff, and now Ryan gets the run back down on him in towards Bruxelles. Can he get the job done? Surely around, not the outside of Bruxelles, and it's GL who gets the job done. So the old guard comes out on the young pretender in Ryan. Keki there in behind in 12th. He's also an old guard there. Albeit his age, he is still very old in PSF1 terms. He's there down in 12th position, the Finn. Gustav there on the back of Baki. Baki, of course, he got benched in F1 Esports Challengers, which set him in good stead still, even though he got benched. He's there in 8th position, in a net P6 right now, so he is doing a good job. But Matteo, it's all up to him whether he decides to come in the pit lane or not. This is now his race potentially to lose. He comes out, the gap basically, Baki Gustav, he's going to be watching for that gap.
He's in.
Matteo was watching that gap very much carefully. Backy is the man at the front of that train. McLaren's potentially could work together. All hell breaks loose into the bus stop chicane.
Surely it's going to be
Matteo
soft.
could have a really good chance. It will be soft, surely.
Surely it's going to be soft, because if it's mediums, he's going to lose. Yeah, I don't think he would have gone on the mediums, to be honest. He's playing the gamble, and I think it's a very good gamble, potentially, because I thought that's what everyone else was going to go on. So Matteo, he's got the most to gain for this situation. I know he's going to lose out on quite a few positions because everyone around him pitted. He's going to come out just behind, well, just ahead of Noof, but Noof's going to be on the warmer tyres, so surely that's going to be enough to pass him. But that means everyone has pitted, and there is no rain that's coming. It's overcast at the end. I was responding to Noof's question. As Keke is passing Backy for P8, and we've got GL getting past Gustav for P6, so there's a lot of hell in break loose in the midfield, which could allow Matteo to go back into the mix as well. They can't afford to make too many mistakes, but Ren's back out on top, Ian in second, Flopman in third, Yossi in fourth. Maybe Yossi's not liking those mediums too much compared to the top three, or maybe he's just waiting for an opportunity to pounce.
Yeah, I think he is. I think he is going to wait for an opportunity to pounce. Matteo, by the way, in 14th. That's not going to suit his race in good set at all. He's further down the field as what I would have thought. Backy there is, what, 9th position right now? I thought he would have come out in and around that 5.2 second gap coming through that final sector, but he hasn't. He's behind now. Sapala behind Cameron Dowd. It's going to be a real uphill task. He's got the tyres, but drivers ahead are on fresher tyres as well, so he is going to be negated somewhat. Even a couple of laps into the stint. Ryan on the back of Backy is desperately trying to look to get this job done. Coming through Blanchimont. Now he's going to get there on the NLR man. On the back of the TF10 man. Going around the outside into the bus stop chicane. The Williams now will have the inside for the turn 19 at the bus stop chicane. Beautiful job there by NLR Ryan. All hell is breaking loose in the background as Cameron Dowd, Sapala and Matteo all go side by side through the corner. Yossi's getting flop, man. I don't know where to look with this. Matteo now looking on the outside of Sapala. Coming through turn number 1. Is he going to get the job done on the Alpine? Forces the Alpine off. The McLaren just about ahead running down. They're going to go side by side into Rouge and Rally on. Matteo gets the job done. He's into 13th. Yossi now getting Ian Van Unen. Flopman going to get Ian Van Unen down the straight as well. He's going to be right on the back. Backy now on the back of Kazizzle. Kazizzle now on the back of Cameron Dowd. Cameron Dowd and Matteo are side by side. In towards 3 wide and towards Lake Holm. Not working. Cameron Dowd and Backy now side by side. Cameron Dowd's getting the job done. How on earth nobody has ended up in the wall out of that sequence? I do not know. Matteo now to the inside line and Backy gets the job done. His side's now coming into play. Goodness knows what was going on there, but all hell broke loose.
Yeah, we didn't know where to look, did we, James? There was battling going everywhere. I did say they were going to wait to take the risk until the later stage of the race, and I was right in that stage, but they're going to be pushing the tyres too much. Matteo can't afford to push too much because he was saving a bit of battery earlier on those medium tyres. We did see the ones on the softs not pushing too much at the start. So that is why he probably waited until this point to pit, because that is when he could push. But he's already almost out of DRS to Cameron Dowd, so he's got to get a move on. But Yossi's looking very good on the back of Renz right now. I nearly said Yossi on the back of Yossi, which would have been a weird thought. It's not Yossi's ghost, by the way, as Renz has got a prancing Yossi behind him, who's looking to capitalise on every opportunity. He's also gets a penalty. His race has gone from bad to worse, unfortunately. Kazizzle comes into the pits, though. Kazizzle, as my phone nearly dropped on the floor, Kazizzle has retired from the session, so he must have got severe damage, which he could have repaired, unfortunately. And that is our first retirement of the evening, which is a bit of a shame.
And Yossi now on the back of Renz Thomason. My pick against your pick running down the Camel Straight. Ian Van Unen now on the back of these two as well. Yossi pulling to the outside line. And the Swissman now pulls alongside Renz, who's having a very good showing, by the way. On his second start in PSF1, he's now behind Yossi. Yossi's now leading. Renz in second, Ian Van Unen there in third. Keke having a good race here. Gav was saying a little bit earlier on, Keke P20 to P20. Can't happen now because there's not even 20 drivers in this grid. But Keke's through and he's into sixth. Gil there in seventh. Keke, I think, is having one of his best races I think I've seen him driving PSF1. He's doing a phenomenal job.
You said it
Anything
now.
I've said that now, he's probably going to spin coming down in towards Pouon. You watch. Keke there in sixth. Gil there in seventh. Barak there in fifth, doing a good job. Luckily, Keke hasn't spun coming through Pouon, coming through that part of the track. But 3.5 seconds the gap. Keke is eating into this advantage. Barak is on all the tyres. as is Flopman. This gap will come down. Barak and Flopman fight. Flopman, we know how aggressive he can fight when a driver is behind him. Look at the gap now, 3.1 seconds. Keki definitely eats him into this margin. Barak doesn't want to go for the move on Flopman, and Flopman doesn't want to defend too aggressively on Barak. So this is now going to bring Keki, Gil, in the next 3 or 4 laps. If they get battling, and the front guys get battling, Keki, Gil, Gustav, Cameron Dowd, and everyone else in behind up to Ryan are all in play for the race win. Oh, as soon as I say that, Gil nearly went into the back of Keki into the bus stop.
Oh my God, so that would have been a commentator's curse 2.0 there for Mr. James Head. We do have some word about Kazizo. Apparently, he got brake checked, apparently. But again, that'll be up to the street. So Volakonga's probably got some damage because of that, which is a bit of a shame, and that's why he retired the car. But that is what we didn't see out of all the battles that we're trying to commentate on, because we can only commentate on one battle. We can't commentate on, like, 4 or 5 battles at once, as there's a lot of things that are happening in the background. We've got the likes of Cameron Dowd, Gustav, Matteo. They're all in one train by one piece of tarmac. Gil gets past Keke very easily, actually, as he's trying to pull away. Cameron Dowd is now going to try and get past Keke in towards Bruchel's coming up right now as well, heading towards Ravage very soon. Matteo going to try and take advantage as well past Keke, but he can't do it. Oh my God, this is like an M25, but they're actually getting some great races for once. This is not helping Matteo, though. Those softs are going to die like a rocket ship.
Oh, they are. The set of soft compounder tyres. I mean, Keki's ahead of him on 5-lap medium compounder tyres, so at least he's got fresher tyres compared to him. But everyone else in front of him have probably got same, if not better, tyres at this stage compared to where Matteo was at on that compounder tyre. Barak getting the job done on Flopman there as well, and I think both of them have had contact, actually. Coming in towards Campos, the gap has just reduced all of a sudden from what was 3.1 seconds to 1.3, so they have definitely had an incident there. Barak is now outside of ERS range. Don't know what's going on in behind. Matteo's looking for the move on Keki through Blanchimond. Gustav on the back of Sapala. NLR are going to have an inter-team war going on here between them both. 9th, 10th and 11th. Gustav on the back of this as well. Sapala on the back of Keki. Now they're going side-by-side down in towards the source. The Alpine against the Ferrari. The Ferrari, I think, will hold the inside line in towards turn number 1. The Alpine there is the only one, actually, to not get to have a penalty so far, along with Zolza and Yaron. Gustav has a major mistake coming out of turn number 1 at the source. That brings Ryan through and he's into 11th. NLR having a field day for 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th. If only this was a different event. Yossi leading the way. Renz in 2nd. Ian Van Unen there in 3rd. And the front 3 all gearing up now for the final thrust.
Mr. Palau has got past Keke as well. So Keke is going to try and fight for the last point. You never know. Gustav may try and fight for this too as well. This is now buying stuff as well. Make sure you stay tuned in to the rest of this race, because believe it or not, James, we're on lap 18 and 22. The last few laps have absolutely flown by, and it looks like we're not going to get a safety car, but you never know with PSF1. Safety cars breed safety cars. Yossi out there on top, Rend in 2nd, Ian in 3rd. Any of those 3 can win this race. Flopman and Barak are fighting behind as well, but I'm watching Barak's ERS. He hasn't got enough to use compared to Flopman, but he is good with his straight line speed, so it'll be interesting to see what he can do towards the end of this race. Bad exit from Flopman. That's going to allow Barak to close in a little bit, but Flopman's straight line speed is helping him even more. I'm looking at Barak's battery. 12%, almost on 10%. He's got to be careful, not use up too much. So he's got to rely on his straight line speed a little bit more. Don't forget, there's no DRS in Blanchimond straight, so they just got to rely on the power a little bit as they head towards the box stop chicane. Here's Barak going to go late on the brakes. Nope, he is not, but there is a big DRS train forming in behind him. Cipolo is in this as well. So is Matteo. So is Keke. So this could get very, very intense. Meanwhile, the battle for the lead is intensifying, with the top 3 running away with it. And that gap between Flopman and Ian has increased quite a lot. And that is because the top 3 are playing it absolutely smart. The others behind are just squabbling.
Yeah, Barak is going to have to try and get this job done on Flopman. Flopman, remember, had a 5-second penalty for making contact with Renz. He doesn't want to do the same thing again. He's just forcing all the way across on the back of Barak. He forced basically Barak off the racing line going into the bus stop chicane as well. And actually, Flopman left through his teammate. So I think that's fair enough there for Flopman. Not sure if he's got a little bit of damage potentially on the car. I don't think he has.
Matteo?
He's there in 6th. I think it might just be the tyres that's going off. Cameron Dowd's on the back. There, a Flopman running down into a Brussels. Oh, that's an absolute dive bomb, but it's a brilliant dive bomb at that. Cameron Dowd's through. Matteo, as you mentioned there, just getting the job done, and Sapala as well in behind. Cameron Dowd, though, has just sold Flopman. I don't know for what. Maybe a French baguette at a Friday farmers market in France. He's through there and he's into 6th. Flopman there down in 7th. Matteo there in 8th. Brilliant stuff from Cameron Dowd. He's now making his way through the field. Fresher compound tyres. He's got GLG, another Frenchman ahead of him. Cameron Dowd certainly going to be trying to see what is going to happen in the Six Nations a little bit later on between Scotland and France. The Aussie lead, Fred in 2nd, Ian Van Noonen there in 3rd. But look at the gap now, Jess. Barack closing in 1.4 seconds. It's not done with yet.
It is definitely not done with yet. It can change at a blink of an eye. So make sure you stay tuned because you never know. If you tune out and then a few laps later, the results could change. So make sure that you draw your eyes and attention to this. We've got 3 more laps to go of this Belgian Grand Prix. It's too late for a safety car. So this is pretty much going to be a sprint to the finish. They hardly got much ERS left. So it's pretty much going to be an even playing field for all of these guys. And who has used the least battery and who's going to burn some right here and right now. Or maybe they're just going to play the patient game and wait until the last lap. We've got Renz, who's not going to be patient and going to try and go for the move now, potentially. Or is he playing tactically and trying to stay behind Yossi? He's playing tactically at the moment. He doesn't want to get past Yossi just yet. Meanwhile, Cameron Dowd, all of a sudden, trying to get past Barat for P5. Goes off the track a little bit. But I think they're leaving just about enough room as Cameron Dowd's having a stellar race so far. Don't rule him out for the race victory. And that was what you originally predicted, Mr. James Ellis. Cipolla and Matteo side by side once again.
Oh my God.
Past no name. Matteo is leaving nothing to chance. He's going to try and get the move past Pouon. Yes, he does get the move past into Pouon. Lovely stuff from the McLaren driver. That was timely and that was well executed. Once again, Cipolla is well on the back a bit still, but I don't think Matteo's going to win this one, but that just shows how good of a racer he is against people with a lot of experience in this division.
Yeah, fantastic racing actually between Matteo and Sapala. I was literally, if you saw my camera screen, which you didn't, luckily, I was head in my hands when they were coming down and towards 2-1, but luckily they escaped with that. Top 3, by the way, have got pretty much a full amount of battery. Yossi's got 96% right now. Brent has got 92. Ian Van Noonen on 92 as well. So Yossi's got better battery conservation compared to the guys in behind. It is Yossi against Rent. Could technically say it's between me and Jess for the race win with the front 2. Ian Van Noonen there in 3rd as well. Hopefully not going to spoil both of our parties in terms of our prediction there in P3. But a man from P3 has won around here in the past before. Joe Van Bussel did it in season 34. 2 seasons ago, he was P3 at this stage of the race. And then he made 2 moves on the final 2 laps to win the race win. Yossi leads, Renz in 2nd. But here comes Ian Van Noonen on the back now of Renz, looking to try and get the job done. They are going to wait until the last lap. Everyone now, it's going to be hung, drawn and quartered. Get the... What am I looking for? The... Anyways, Ian Van Noonen.
I don't even know what you're on about, James.
The swords, yes, the swords are coming out there
fighting
completely
talk.
for the top 3. Fighting talk from the top 3. It's going to be a scene from Gladiator as they come down in towards the final 7 kilometres of this race.
Yes, I mean, I literally don't know who's going to come out on top for this one. I think one person is just going to probably go for a risk and absolutely send it, but this is going to be interesting. We've got the final 2 minutes or so of this race, and it's going to come down to the last 1 and a bit laps to decide round 2 race winner. We saw Matteo win last week. He's not going to win again unless everyone in front of him has calamity, which I hope that doesn't happen, because otherwise we've got a lot of stewards reports to read next week. But here we go then to the bus stop for the penultimate time. Here comes Yossi, as he's going to try and defend for his life to get his first race win in PSF1 this season and pretty much ever, but we will need to double check that as well. Lap 22 and 22. Final lap we go in towards that source. Yossi has got to think about what's behind him. Render's got to think about what's behind him and in front of him. Yossi is pulling away though a little bit. but Ian is gaining rapidly on Renz. I don't know which way to look right now as they head towards this back straight into a pass rally on in towards the Kemmel straight. Ian is going to try and go for it now. He's got the pace out of everybody as well. So is Renz. One of them has to back off. Surely it is going to be free wide in towards the Kemmel straight. And the camera angle doesn't do it justice, but Renz takes the lead from... He made contact a little bit. That's allowing Renz to pull away from Ian and Yossi. That pretty much just sealed the deal for them. Unfortunately, Cameron Dowd is trying to capitalise. I did say he could capitalise on any mistake, and we also Jill is also in this fight as well. Oh my God! It's like a car park once again. Jill, that was so close. Someone has gone into the wall though, almost, and almost lost a bit of their front wing. But it's still the top three of Renz. Ian and Yossi. Cameron Dowd's doing this as well. Now heading towards campus for the final time. We've got predictions in the chat that we think it's going to be Renz, but you never know. Ian can make the move.
Yeah,
it is going to be Renz because it is going to be the fight for second place at the moment. But James, I need a voice, so I'll let you cover the last bit of this race.
Yeah, Renz has got this surely 1.9 seconds. The gap, Cameron Dowd is coming flying at Yossi. Yossi's going to fly at Ian Van Noonen as well. Into the bus stop chicane. This battle for second, not over and done with. Yossi now to the outside line on Ian Van Noonen. Limited contact into the bus stop chicane. Yossi just about keeps that car under control. He's going to have to rejoin track, but he's going to forfeit positions. Renz and wins. Ian Van Noonen in second. Yossi there in third. 5-second penalty. He'll look into getting that removed. He might have come across actually there as Ian Van Noonen moving across on Yossi, so he might have a claim about that. Ian Van Noonen right now for second. Cameron Dowd in third. GeForce has somehow ended up fourth in all of that. Barak in fifth. Matteo there in sixth. Keki seventh. Yossi for now in eighth. And then Gustav and Flopman, the top 10. Flopman was right up there in the vanguard at the start of the second stint. And now he's ended up with 1 point. That is just the trials and tribulations right here of this race in Belgium. But that incident, basically, with Ian Van Noonen and Yossi, they fought very aggressively. Yossi was forced off on the marbles. He had rear marbles on the rear tyres. Unfortunately for him, in the end, he ended up nearly rear-ending the back of Ian Van Noonen when rejoining on track. Both of them collide, and that's as a result given Renz the race win. Driver of the day awarded by the in-game fans. Jav, you'll be happy. NLR Keki gets Driver of the day awarded by the in-game fans. But Renz Thomason makes up for the misery of last week and now returns his favour. And it's exactly what I said on social media. Could we get 2 winners out of 2? Yes, we could.
Yes, you were right. And Renz, of course, did not have a good race in Australia. He had a moment, I think, with Yossi, I think it was, in towards turn number 7. But now this is his first race as a full-time driver. We predicted that it was either going to be him or Yossi for the race victory. And Renz just was able to capitalise on Yossi and the Haas driver making mistakes. But here we go then. Let's go and look for your result. We got a Dutch 1-2. We got Renz in first, Ian in second, Cameron in third. It is all provisional, by the way. Gil in fourth. We've got Barat in fifth. A great return for him. Started fifth, finished fifth. What more could he say from him? Surely he want to climb up a little bit in his points tally as well. Mateo in 6th, Keke 7th, Yossi 8th, Gustav in 9th, then we've got Flopman in 10th. Those are your point scorers. And then your other finishers are Ryan, Sipola, Zorzo, Baki, Noof, Yaron, and Volakongan. And your only retirement, it's Kazizel. Wow. What a great race. We didn't have any safety cars, but all the chaos happened on the final lap, James. Woo!
It did, and to be honest, looking at how that race actually went, it looked a little bit predictable. I'll be honest, it did look a little bit predictable. We knew it was going to get a bit spicy on the final lap of the race. I certainly didn't expect that battle between Ian Van Noonen and Yossi, and that ultimately won Renz the race win. And Renz, he was unlucky last week, getting contacted by Flopman. This week completely makes up for it. It's 2 winners out of 2 different races, which is what we had at the start of last season as well. And Renz has certainly put himself in the championship fight by a lot. Tice Rock and you certainly have definitely been coming together in terms of your predictions. Tice said to me last week, Renz is definitely one to watch out for in PSF1. You came for the race win here tonight. So, yeah, you correlated that against me. Renz, by the way, also saying, by the way, sorry, I have to learn English, so we will not be getting Renz, unfortunately.
Oh, that is a shame. But obviously, the interviews are not mandatory. They don't have to do it if they don't want to. It's, of course, optional. But we would like to hear potentially from some other drivers. But there may be just certain drivers that can't do it for certain reasons. But it's absolutely fine as well. But, James, I would like you to tell us your thoughts. Who do you think has got your driver of the day? Who has impressed you today?
I would have went with Yossi if he won the race, but obviously that didn't happen. Renz, I think he drove a fantastic race. He kept his cool, where other people around him probably weren't as cool. Ian Van Oon and Yossi obviously having that battle. I think Renz absolutely deserves it. We have got Cameron Dowds, by the way, in the waiting rooms. We can get him in if you want.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. He's on the podium, so might as well.
May as well. Right, let's try and move him in. Hopefully he's not on PS4. Hopefully this works. He's not on PS4, that's a start. We can now speak to the man who, of course, finished in P3, albeit very fortunately with Yossi in that 5-second penalty. It is Mr. Cameron Dowds. And Cameron, first of all, what on earth happened in qualifying? Because I had you on for pole.
Well, I definitely was not on for pole. I only knew I was racing with about an hour, so it was just like an hour of practice, and I kept switching setups, so it wasn't very good prep. And then that 0.4 was actually my PB, but I was a tenth and a half up on my last lap, and I just invalidated it. And then in the race, it definitely wasn't one of my best races. I mean, I was just about all over the place, especially like ERS management. I kept having to use when I did not want to use. And then I started saving up my battery for the medium stint, and then I clicked the button too early and it put me behind Kai, and I lost like 2 seconds, and then that put me in a worse position. And then, yeah, it was just a dogfight up to the front, really. And then by the time I got there, I didn't really have the ERS to fight with I knew the top 3 were on. I was told they had like top battery, and I was on like 40, and I just knew it was a case of maybe sit behind, get a bit of luck, which happened. Wait, who was it with the 5-second? Yossi.
Yeah, Yossi on the final corner.
I think Yossi might get that taken off anyway, because I think he got. I don't think it was very fair on him, so I think I might get put back down to 4th, but.
That's still
really
good.
Matter anyway, because I'm a donor and I didn't sign up, so yeah.
Well, at least you've admitted to that. Unlike your dad coming in the chat saying you forgot to sign up last week. But there we are. I think, honestly, those final couple of laps, the gap, I think, between Barack at one point was 3.1 seconds. You were right behind GLGL, I think, in that battle. Were you ever in the mind of thinking, I'm really not going to catch up to these front 3, and I'm not really going to have a chance of actually getting the place where I want to be in this race?
Definitely. I did not. I thought when it was me and Wheel, we just would not be able to catch, but we caught so quickly. I don't know. I think Flopman and someone else, something happened to them and they lost a lot of time, and that just resulted in us getting into the DRS, and then they caught back up to the DRS, so it all just kind of fell into place. But I hope I can race again this season, and I know far in advance, so I can practice a little bit longer and maybe get a win or something. That'd be nice.
Yeah, and obviously you joined mid-season through that season as well, and then ended up finishing second in the championship. So I think at least you've joined round 2 of the championship, and you've got a crack still at the title. That is definitely what we're going with in terms of the form. Talk us through that incident, because you probably had the perfect position actually between that incident with Yossi and who was the other one involved in it?
Ian.
It was Ian Van Oonen. Those two obviously having that fight going into the final corner. What happened going into that final couple of corners? Because you ended up finishing obviously P3, Yossi ended up further down the field, and you say he's going to get that 5-second penalty removed.
Well, I think Yossi got. They were side by side, and was it Ian he was battling with? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Ian just it looked like he just jerked to the left a little bit, and then it shoved Yossi off. But I don't know if it'll be a case of Yossi gets that penalty removed or Ian gets a penalty. But that'd be even nicer, because then I get second. But I
Yeah.
it definitely wasn't Yozzie's fault. I think Ian jerked to the left a little bit by the looks of it, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think it looked to me, I was certainly on board with that, and it looked to me as if it was just a little bit of an incident between him just moving across, may realise that he was probably the full car length ahead, and then he's just a 3/4 car length ahead, and he's just misjudged it. Probably might come down to that. Might get that 5-second penalty removed because, of course, it is up to the stewards. Jess, I'm going to come across to you. Any questions?
Yeah, of course. First of all, welcome back, Cameron. Great podium from you as well. Obviously, we don't know if you're going to be racing or not next week, but if you are going to be racing next week, it's a difficult circuit coming up. People either love it or hate it. Monaco. If you are racing in it, do you like it or not? And how do you feel about it? And would you rather race or not?
When you don't practice for Monaco, it's a horrific track. But actually, when you get into the groove of it and you practice for a few hours, I actually think it's quite nice to drive.
I agree.
I think the worst track to drive, in my opinion, is probably Las Vegas. I'm never driving that track. But Monaco, at first it's horrible, but when you get into the flow state and you've been practicing for a few hours, it's actually quite a nice track to drive. So I don't really mind driving it, to be honest. I'll take anything I can get, because at the moment it's only the second round, so there's still a chance of the championship, especially if I can keep the third place. So I'm going to just try and race it every chance I get.
That's my questions, Mr. James Head.
Yeah, that is all from me as well. Go and enjoy your evening, Cameron.
Right, thank you, you too.
Very welcome indeed. We haven't got anybody else in the waiting room right now. Ian Van Noonan said he's not available as well. Neither is Ren, so that is the end of the interviews for tonight.
Yeah, that is the end of the interviews. So we are going to wrap things up. But as we were saying, Monaco is next week. I'm glad I'm not missing this. Monaco has provided some history at PSGL. It hasn't been raced that often, which I could probably explain why. Because for some people it can cause chaos. But for multiple drivers, I know can provide some great memories. I remember when Casper, a former Renault esports driver, he performed so well around this circuit in the past as well. Some other drivers doing well here too. Obviously, get our stats ready for you for next week. But how are the drivers going to cope with the Principalities of Monte Carlo next week?
Mentally, it's going to be an absolute struggle. And I know this fine well because I raced Monaco on this game. And honestly, it is probably one of the worst tracks, I think, on this game. It's a bit like Nutella. You either love it or you hate it. And you've got some really experienced drivers on the grid that absolutely love it and really do well at. And then you've just got the drivers like me who are trying to survive. And I think that is going to be the case of two halves in Monaco next week. But it will be interesting, obviously. We are obviously going to have it in midnight as well, which is what we can confirm. It is going to be midnight for next week as well. And it could end up being like other leagues where you could have a really, really close fight in the mid-pack and really get some good racing around there. Maybe an outside moving towards Massenane Casino Square could be on. Or you could get, like Louis Valentin did in another league, and win by 20 seconds. So certainly anything can happen in Monaco. Mary Walker once said anything can happen in Formula One, and it usually does. I'm going to now quote this and say anything can happen in Monaco, and it usually does.
It does. Louis Valentin has won in PSGL around Monaco. He is a Monaco merchant, I would say. So, yeah, we're interested to see how he does on the PC side. But we are going to wrap things up as well. That's the remainder of the calendar if you're interested. But thank you guys so much for watching PSGL PSF1. It's been such a privilege to cover round number 2 in Belgium. Make sure you leave a like on this video if you're on YouTube. Follow on Twitch if you haven't already at PremierSimGL. Hit the notification bell if you are new. Make sure you follow us on X, Twitter and Instagram at PremierSimGL. TikTok at PremierSimGL as well. And also, make sure you check our sponsors. GT Omega, once again, 5% off all GT Omega products. You know the drill by using the code PSGL at checkout. Also, thanks to our partners at Sim Racing Centre who provide setups, strategies, coaching sessions, you name it, including a coaching session from two-time esports champion Brendan Lee. What more could you ask for that front as well? Plus, you get a 10% discount code as well. I've probably forgotten a lot more stuff, but James, do you want to go through the streams that we got this week? Because it's not just us, is it?
It is just not us, indeed. And yeah, we've got PCF1 back, I believe, on Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. Just looking through, actually, in terms of the calendar as well, the final bits of the calendar was announced, and it is going to be Austria on Wednesday as well. So George Morgan and indeed Dan Field. I was going to say Jack Canan there. Knew it was the wrong commentator. George Morgan and Dan Field should be taking you through the action for that one. Then it's Belgium, Texas, Las Vegas for PCF1. So if you do want to watch that, it is Wednesday, 7 p.m. UK time. You can watch PCF1. We've also got E-Series coming up on Friday as well, and also all other PC tiers on Thursday right in between as well. That's F2 all the way to F6, I think, getting covered on the live streams as well. So hopefully you enjoyed it, and hopefully you get some good racing next week in Monaco. God knows what's going to happen.
Yes, I wonder how many safety cars potentially we're going to get. Luckily, I think red flags are turned off. Yeah, to be honest, we only had one. We had one safety car Monza in the race I did, and we had simulation damage. So, there we go. So, that probably means with standard damage, we're not going to get any either. But on that bombshell, we will leave you to enjoy the rest of your evening, and we will leave you with our sponsors, GT Omega, our partners, SRC, and with the final outros. For myself and James, we will see you same time next week at 8 o'clock. Be there or be square at the Monaco Grand Prix. Take care and bye-bye.
He's got the inside, all here is through on the left hand side. Hooks the apex, gets all the power nicely, and that is job done. Jarno Opmeer now to the last couple of corners now. His finest drive, his greatest drive, and he's done it at the Circuit of the Americas. He returns to the top step of the podium. Once again, the GOAT is back. Jarno Opmeer wins the US Grand Prix in a stunning Grand Prix.